My girlfriend, 36, admittedly had a thing for older men. I, 49, was surprised she came on to me at a bar. One night after I worked all day at my construction job, we started talking and I couldn't help but see the good in her that she wanted me to see. She had a son who was 16 at the time. His father left them suddenly when he was just 9 years old. So he had very little faith in any man to become his father figure. I felt for this boy because I too grew up without my father. I wanted to be there for him even before I met him. My girlfriend and I started dating. So shortly after that, I met her son, Chris. He was definitely resistant to getting to know me but wouldn't tell me why right away. After 1 year of failed attempts at bonding, he finally told me I wasn't going to be around long enough for him to trust me. I told him I didn't intend on leaving and wanted to be someone he could look up to. I didn't tell him, but I really loved his mom already. Then he told me it wouldn't be my fault when our relationship ended. I was confused. I asked him what he meant and he said his mom had 5 boyfriends since his dad left. I was surprised but still not completely deterred. Maybe those men weren't suitable to be a father example. Now I realize I was just defending the woman I fell for without knowing her all too well. I decided to talk with my girlfriend about it. She came off as defensive, reminding me that she said her son didn't trust any man. When I told her, he said it wouldn't be my fault. She didn't have a response for that. A part of me could tell she was playing dumb and just blaming her ex for her son's fears, even though that might not be why I decided to stick around, believing I could prove this negative premonition wrong. Honestly, I cared for her and her boy so much. Sometimes I wonder if my heart is too big. Chris and I did manage to have several deep talks and bond with each other. I took him wherever he wanted to go and gave him honest answers. I would have craved as a teenager without my father. Then one day everything came to a screeching halt. Chris barged into the house crying and yelling for me, followed by his confused mother. He quickly told me that what he warned me about had happened before his mother could interrupt or have any idea what he was going to say. He said he saw his mother having sex with his teacher. Then he added, "This is what he warned me about 2.5 years ago. His mother," and I guessed he continued by saying she thought he was going to his friend's house after the parent-teacher conference, but he felt like he needed to stay for some reason. He waited in the car for her to come out. When she didn't come out of the school, he went back in and peeked through the skinny window in the door of his classroom. Even though they turned off the lights to make it dark, he saw them in the corner of the room. My would-be steps in then said now that I knew the truth, I could kick them out. He was used to it and said he didn't need me or her. He went upstairs to pack and his mom stepped in to quietly tell me he didn't see what he thought he saw. Her face was red and she just looked desperate for me to believe her lies. She started crying and I didn't say anything and just stared at her. She told me again that it wasn't true, but her son heard her and asked if she was calling him a liar. She screamed that this was adult business and it was none of his concern. He screamed that it was his concern because she was taking away any chance he had to find a father or a home. I said, if her son is telling me he saw something that would make him have to leave me and his home, I'm likely to believe him over her. Her son then said I should trust him because he would never want to marry a woman like his mother. She screamed when she heard him say that she was just beside herself, collapsed onto the floor. I told her she needed to get out of my house and we were done. I wished her luck finding another place to live. I went upstairs and told Chris that if he ever needed to come to my house, my door would be open. He also had my phone number. He was about to be 18. So if he saw my company, his mother wouldn't be able to do anything about it. They left in a packed car and she found them a new place to stay. But it was with a creepy stranger. When Chris turned 18, he moved in with me. It was an incredibly happy day for us, but not so much. My ex, she hated it. She tried to say it couldn't happen, but it most definitely could and did. I acted as his father and continued to while he lives on campus. It's a relief that neither of us depend on his mother. He still keeps in touch with her, but he's learned to keep his distance emotionally. After all the instability she put him through, I guess karma hits hard though. After Chris moved in with me, she was diagnosed with an STD that is hard to ignore or manage. She also had another baby at the age of 41. I'm pretty sure she doesn't know who the father is. Speaking of that, per Christopher's request, we submitted a complaint to the school board about the teacher that slept with his mom. Our letter was taken very seriously by them. So the teacher was fired immediately. They asked Chris if there was anything else they could do, but he was happy with that. I didn't care what his mom was up to anymore because she wasn't much a loss. I was glad I got to keep Chris in my life though. So maybe everything happens for a reason. You might have a point there, everything could happen for a reason. Maybe our only obligation in life is to take what we can learn from experiences. Life is a balance of caring for ourselves and others. Some people honestly don't deserve our love because by trying to love them, we would only be sacrificing ourselves. Never allow something or someone to stay in your life. If it's discouraging you, communication allows for relationships to prosper. But if a person lies and cheats without regard to their spouse, they are communicating that they don't value them. Find someone else and never look back. This woman's actions, especially as a mother, were despicable. I am so glad you and Chris worked together to free yourselves from her. She'll never be able to maintain healthy relationships if she doesn't change. I wish you and Chris the best of luck in life. Thank you for sharing this story. Now, let's get into our second story for today. At the time of this story, I was a private investigator for 20 years. I've been divorced once and really just wanted to meet someone to love and retire with. When I met my girlfriend one random night at a bar. After work, I thought I started falling for her too fast. I kept reminding myself to take it slow and make sure this is the woman I want to be with, because if heartbreak can be avoided, it should be. The problem was she was also moving too fast. She said she lived with her parents and they had a good relationship, which made me wonder why she wanted to start sleeping over for several nights in a row. She said it was because she was head over heels for me. And I felt the same about her. So it was hard to argue while she slept over one night. She asked me if the security cameras in my home recorded all the time. I laughed and told her they haven't worked since day one. I just went to all that trouble to get them up there. That I never felt like taking them down. This was actually a lie. The cameras did work and recorded all the time. But her question made me nervous after all. I was a private investigator, and if there was anything she tried to get past me, I was going to find out. It was probably just a month after that I gave her a key to my apartment. I told her I didn't want her there unless I was there after work or on days off. She agreed right away and was really happy. I trusted her with my key. The next day I was at work and the cameras caught her in my home. She looked around sheepishly but eventually started getting food out of the fridge and watching television. She looked so happy and cute, even though I was kind of upset that she completely disregarded what I said. I decided to watch her for a while longer without telling her. I could see what she was doing before I knew it. We'd been together for 2 years. During that time, I'd watch her at the apartment without her knowing. She was adorable. But she did start acting funny by now. She had moved in after being together for just a short time on the grand scale of things. She started to get short with me. I did my best to stay on good terms, but it was becoming difficult. It was while I was having doubts that her sister randomly called me on Facebook. She was known for starting drama. So I was hesitant to answer, but I'm glad I did. She warned me that her sister might take advantage of me. I asked why. And she said it's because she can change her mind. Suddenly, she added that my girlfriend never lived at their parents' house as an adult and they didn't have a good relationship. When she met me, my girlfriend was sleeping wherever she could, mostly her car or a friend's house. This was a little unsettling. But even with her acting funny, I reminded myself that her sister could just be starting drama. So I did not need to break up with my girlfriend. I thought we could work through this or whatever happened in her past. I knew she didn't want to break up because otherwise she would have just left me wrong instead of breaking up and losing her place to live. She found it easier to go behind my back at work. I got a notification for the camera. I actually didn't mean to click on the notification. But my giant thumb did. The app opened as I tried to close it. But then I saw my girlfriend bringing another man into the apartment. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, but I still left for home right away. I walked in on them trying to hide. I pulled AP out of the closet. I saw him go in while she put on her panties. He ran for it and apologized to me. My girlfriend was just sobbing and said that he was just supposed to give her a nude massage but nothing else. I told her to quit it. I knew she didn't think she'd be caught. But the cameras worked the entire time she lived here. Her jaw dropped and she actually tried to blame me for lying to her. I told her she was stupid and cruel for doing this and I wanted her out of my house. She begged me for another chance and admitted she was wrong for blaming me at all. I told her I still didn't believe she knew how serious this was. I would never be able to trust her again and I should have listened to her sister's advice right away. My girlfriend assumed I would never find out about this. It's thanks to my cleverness and a little bit of luck that I did. I told her again to get out and she did because she ruined it. I wanted to share this story for other men or anyone going through this betrayal. It's exhausting, but it's not impossible to get through this. Just stay persistent and remember what you need to do for yourself. Since all of this happened, I have married a different woman and we've been together for 13 years. Turns out there was a reason I didn't ever feel ready to propose to my ex-girlfriend. I was meant to find the next woman. I am so sorry. Your girlfriend tricked you into wasting time with her. I am so glad you accidentally opened the app and saw what she was doing as an investigator. You must have luck on your side. Your girlfriend was unfathomably stupid for bringing a man to your home after you supported and loved her. I have little faith in her ability to compromise or communicate in a relationship between two mature people. I am so relieved. You got out of this and found the opportunity to meet your wife. Thank you all for taking the time to listen to today's stories. If you enjoyed listening, please feel free to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also comment below with your thoughts on what happened. Take care.